There are moments when an athlete steps off the court and still manages to dominate a completely different kind of arena. In 2025, one such figure stunned both sports fans and pop culture watchers alike when Liz Cambage, a 6'8" powerhouse of Australian basketball, revealed she had made more in a week online than in her entire career. On the hardwood, the headlines were impossible to ignore: a former WNBA star turning digital allure into financial triumph, $1.5 million earned not through rebounds or dunks, but through her presence and control of her own image. To understand how such a shift happened, one must first remember who Liz Cambage really is: a player who towered not only in height but in personality. She was magnetic, confident, and never afraid to speak her mind. Her story wasn't just about basketball, it was about power, independence, and defiance. She had long been one of the WNBA's most outspoken voices on pay inequality and the business structures that left even the most elite female athletes earning fractions of what their male counterparts took home. Born in London and raised in Australia, Liz Cambage was a natural spectacle on the court from the moment she joined the WNBA. She drew attention not just for her imposing frame, but for her dominance under the rim. Drafted by the Tulsa Shock in 2011, she quickly became a force, averaging double-doubles and setting franchise records. But even as her talent soared, her earnings did not. During her prime years, Liz openly criticized the WNBA's pay scale. While top NBA stars were earning hundreds of millions, female players, even those at the top, were struggling to break six figures. She often pointed out the imbalance in interviews, unapologetically challenging the system. The league wasn't built to reward individuality, it was built to contain it. By the time she joined the Los Angeles Sparks, her image was both celebrated and controversial. She was the kind of player who brought headlines to a sport often ignored. She spoke truth to an audience that sometimes preferred silence, and in that friction, she became unforgettable. Yet that same fire also burned bridges. In 2022, after parting ways with the Sparks midway through the season, Cambage found herself at a crossroads. She could keep battling an industry that refused to value her voice, or she could rewrite the rules entirely. And for a woman who never waited for permission, the choice was simple. Leaving the WNBA wasn't retirement, it was reinvention. She began focusing on modeling on creative projects and eventually, something that shocked her critics and inspired others, a move to OnlyFans. By early 2025, reports began to surface that Liz Cambage had earned roughly $1.5 million on the subscription platform in less than a year, more than double the total income she had made across 6 seasons in the WWNBA, a figure estimated at around $590,000 combined. The irony was poetic. After years of speaking about pay inequality, she found success by controlling her own narrative outside of the system that once underpaid her. When TMZ caught her at Los Angeles International Airport, they asked the inevitable question: how does it feel to earn more online than through basketball? Her response was light, effortless, almost dismissive. She laughed and said, "The WNBA salary. It's not hard to make more money doing anything." She wasn't wrong. Her words went viral because beneath the humor was truth. She wasn't mocking the league, she was exposing it, a system where the average annual salary for female players still hovered below $250,000, where rookies could barely make $76,000, and where endorsement deals often became the only real source of wealth for women in professional basketball. Liz Cambage wasn't apologizing. She was leading a new conversation, one that blurred the lines between sports celebrity and self-empowerment. The success story of Liz Cambage's digital pivot isn't about scandal, it's about evolution. She had already been redefining what it meant to be a woman in sports for years, outspoken against racism, vocal about body image, and open about mental health. Her career had been filled with moments that showed vulnerability and strength intertwined. When she joined OnlyFans, she wasn't hiding behind a screen, she was reclaiming her own image, the same one that magazines, photographers, and corporations had long tried to package for profit. This time, she was the one setting the price tag, deciding how she would be seen and who would benefit from it. In interviews, she spoke about women getting it, how they can meaning the freedom to find value in themselves outside of traditional expectations, whether through modeling, entrepreneurship, or digital platforms. Cambage's message was clear: women shouldn't be shamed for earning from their image when their talents had been undervalued elsewhere. The new digital frontier. In the world of modern celebrity, the internet has rewritten the rules for what success means. OnlyFans became not just a platform, but a movement empowering empowering creators to be past traditional industries and connect directly with fans. For Liz, it was liberation. After years of structured contracts and performance clauses, she could finally exist on her own terms. And the results spoke volumes: $1.5 million in less than a year, not from sponsorships or media appearances, but from ownership of her content. While her critics whispered about morality, her supporters saw something else. A woman who had taken back control in a society that often profits off women without giving them the same privilege. This wasn't just about basketball. It was about power, about how fame can shift from courtside arenas to digital screens and still carry the same influence. Liz Cambage was simply playing in a new league, one where the scoreboard measured independence instead of points. Her story, though triumphant, also reveals a deeper problem in women's sports, one that goes far beyond a single athlete. While top NBA stars earn tens of millions per season, WNBA players often work second jobs during the off-season. Many head overseas to supplement their income, a grueling cycle that leaves them exhausted and underpaid. Even rookie phenoms like Caitlin Clark, whose popularity has exploded, earn a modest $76,000 annually through their league contracts. While endorsement deals bridge the gap, it still highlights how little the league itself contributes to the financial stability of its players. And now, with emerging alternatives like the new 3-on-3 unrivaled league offering salaries exceeding $350,000 per year, the WNBA faces a reckoning. If female athletes can make more money outside the league, whether through other competitions or digital ventures like Cambage's, then how long can the old model survive? When Liz first revealed her OnlyFans success, the backlash was immediate. Some saw it as bold, others saw it as controversial, but she remained unbothered. She had spent her entire career standing tall, both literally and figuratively, against judgment, whether from sports media or public opinion. Her confidence was not arrogance, it was armor. She knew her worth and wasn't afraid to claim it. She didn't ask for permission, she just did what she needed to do, and the results proved her right. That kind of fearlessness has always been part of her story, from her record-breaking performances on the court to her defiant post-game interviews to her unapologetic social media presence. Even now, she continues to challenge how society views women in power, especially those who choose unconventional paths to achieve financial freedom. She knows that for many women, particularly athletes, there is still a stigma attached to monetizing their image, but for Liz Cambage, the message is simple. If the system doesn't value, you find one that will. Her journey is about more than money. It's about reclaiming agency in an industry where athletes are often treated like assets instead of humans. She's shown that success isn't confined to arenas or endorsement contracts. It can be found in the courage to take a different path. For female athletes, especially those in leagues that don't yet command global wealth, her example is both cautionary and inspiring. It exposes how flawed the economic structures of sports can be, but also how innovation and self-belief can rewrite the narrative. As women's sports continue to grow, so too does the conversation about fair pay, visibility, and respect. Liz Cambage may not play in the WNBA anymore, but her impact echoes far beyond the scoreboard. She's become a symbol of self-determination, a reminder that control over one's own image can be the most powerful currency of all. Today, as headlines still circulate about her million-dollar earnings, Liz Cambage stands as something rare in modern sports, a figure who walked away from the traditional path and built a legacy on her own terms. Some will call it controversial, others will call it brilliant, but for Liz, it's simply business. She took the same strength that made her a star in the paint and redirected it toward building her empire. Her story reminds us that success can take many forms. It's not just about championships or trophies. Sometimes it's about walking away from the system and building your own. Liz Cambage's million-dollar turn on OnlyFans is more than a headline. It's a mirror reflecting the changing landscape of fame, economy, and gender. It challenges the definition of value in sports. It questions why the most talented women in the world must look beyond their craft to earn what they deserve. And it highlights how resilience can transform frustration into fortune. She may have left the WNBA behind, but she never stopped being a force. Her story is a testament to what happens when talent meets courage and when courage refuses to wait for approval. In an era where digital freedom is rewriting the rules of success, Liz Cambage stands tall, literally and figuratively, as proof that empowerment can be as profitable as it is powerful. She is no longer just an athlete. She is a movement, a symbol of the modern woman who plays by her own rules and wins on her own terms.